Alright, Schlockmeister fans, we're going to watch kind of a forgotten Hammer film. This one's called Crescendo, starring Stefanie Powers. Let's check it out. Alright. Our movie starts out, this guy was making out with this chick on the ground there, but uh-oh.
No!
Just a dream. That's Georges.
Bon appétit, monsieur.
And that's the maid.
How is Monsieur Georges today?
Here is Stefanie Powers' character. She's arriving at this mansion.
How nice to see you again.
Oh, Mrs. Roman.
How was your journey?
Fabulous. I can't begin to tell you about it.
I hope you'll be very happy here.
Stefanie Powers plays Susan.
I'm here to the thesis on Henry Ryan. What is thesis? Well, it's a study on his life and his work.
This is the Ryman estate. That's Georges, Ryman's son.
This is Susan Roberts.
Oh, Susan.
France for his scholarship fund. Susan was one of this year's successful applicants.
It was at the university garden party. And then afterwards, when your mother was kind enough to invite me here for the summer,
More tragic because he was an athlete before a fine tennis player.
Georges'
A year or
accident.
two, he could have made his mark at Wimbledon. If he'd been a brilliant musician like his father.
I think Georges likes Susan.
Where is this?
ouch!
Oh yeah. Yeah, I got it. Doctor prescribes Massage.
Then George has some pain.
George, what's wrong?
The bell over by the fireplace. Ring it.
Bell. Oh. George, is there anything I can do?
No, it's...
And what is Lillian the maid going to do for him?
Remember, my darling, it is I who you need. Could you believe?
I guess she sleeps with George on a regular basis. Now we have an apparent dream sequence. Not sure what sort of past George has here, or who this might be. Is that George is shooting himself? This is Carter. He's like a handyman butler type around the house.
You keep Madame happy? I take care of him.
Lillian likes him too, apparently.
Tant pis. And he loved her very much.
He loved her too much, I'm afraid. Now I'm going to take a swim.
Apparently, Georges did have somebody at one point named Catherine. Susan's getting the appearance that George wants her to be like Catherine.
Susan. Oh, forgive me.
It was Catherine's, wasn't it?
One night, Susan's wandering around and she hears a piano playing. She knows that Mr. Ryman, the deceased, was a great piano player, but Georges doesn't play, so she's confused.
No, that's not right.
She goes inside the house in that room there and she sees a doll. A mannequin or something.
No, my dear.
Of course, when she goes back
You're
in,
in bed. Thank you, Carl.
the doll is gone.
Good night, miss. Madame?
What have we done with the dummy?
You shouldn't walk around like that, my dear. You're my husband.
Mrs. Ryman claims she was listening to a tape.
On the tape recorder, and I felt like a complete idiot.
She's decided to leave.
But I know what I saw, George. I know it.
Susan, I want you to do something for me. I want you to leave here, but I don't want you to let my mother know that I've asked you to leave. Do you understand?
You are going to marry me.
Marry?
Marry!
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do. Because the price for this has gone up.
And what is that she's holding?
It's a dangerous game.
That looks like a syringe. It appears that she's
When
Get on with it, for God's sake.
supplying him with
to
heroin.
marry me.
I'll do it myself then. No.
That was a stupid thing to do.
And later on, when Lillian goes skinny dipping in the pool, somebody stabs her. And that's the end of Lillian.
Where's it been?
I found it this morning in Lillian's room. I dismissed her immediately, of course.
You dismissed her.
Well, obviously. She obviously meant to steal it.
Well, she's now saying that she fired her. She's informing her that she's leaving.
Daniel, I think maybe I'm going to leave.
Leave? What on earth for?
Well, because I think it would be better for everybody.
George changes his mind, though, and changes her mind.
You know you do.
Aren't you going to pack, my dear?
I'm not leaving, Daniel.
George persuaded you to change your mind.
And we have a romance blooming between Susan and George. But George is going through withdrawals. And Lillian's not there to supply him with heroin anymore.
Drugs. It's in my mother's room. She won't give me enough.
Susan gets it for him. She just thinks it's medicine, though.
You ought to know what it is that you're
Mom
stealing,
explains.
and what effect it can have on the person you administer it to.
But it's medicine.
Medicine. How can you be so naive? It's heroin. He's a hopeless addict.
We have another flashback to George and presumably Catherine in bed. And we see two people get shot. She says she
Are we
loves
going to
him.
have lots of children? Are we? Because if we are, you're going to have to find somebody else to father them. Of course, you could always go elsewhere and get what a wife usually gets from her husband. Then you can come back and tell me all about it. At least then we'll have something to talk about.
She decides she's going to leave, and then she sees something shocking.
So no, I didn't even care about you.
Walking.
Why didn't you tell
You've
me?
changed, Catherine.
That's not Catherine, and that's not
You're
George.
just as pretty.
She takes off, and when she looks outside, she sees George. Looked like he was going to kill Susan, and then Carter tried to intervene. Got tossed in the pool and killed. What we're seeing here is a twin brother, Jacques.
Jacques, look, it's Catherine. You're Catherine. She's come back. She's come back.
Like he did Catherine.
Whose fault was that? Catherine was his wife. If you'd left her alone, Jacques would be sane.
Jacques has an entire room full of dolls that look like Catherine.
We can finish Father's concerto together.
And he axes them every night so he can kill her over and over again.
Over!
He went insane when he saw his brother sleeping with his wife years ago. Shot and killed Catherine and shot and paralyzed his brother.
He's punished, you see.
As he was about to kill perhaps her and his brother, Mom finally got some sense. The movie ends with Susan fleeing that crazy place. All right, let's let's talk about this movie called Crescendo. It's a Hammer film, came out in 1970, starring Stefanie Powers. This is a movie that was kind of lost for a number of years. I actually had a bootleg tape of this that I got from Video Search in Miami, probably around 2000, 2001 or so. It wasn't a great copy, but it was the only one that was out there at the time. And now Warner Archives has seen fit to release this. So, and it's a pretty good copy too. So anyway, it's not your typical horror film. It's kind of more of a giallo type film. Stefanie Powers is this college student, I guess. She's doing her thesis on some famous musician, some composer who passed away recently. And she actually goes to his estate. She's gotten in touch with the family, the widow, and they've invited her out there to just spend time and do some research, blah, blah, blah. Well, she lives, the widow lives at this estate with her son, George, or Georges, who is in a wheelchair. He had some sort of accident, which we'll find out what happened a little later. And strange things are going on there. She hears piano playing at night, and it turns out Georges is hooked on heroin, and there's this maid who lives on the estate who is supplying him with this heroin whenever he needs it, I guess on a daily basis. She also sleeps with him too. And he's very dependent on this maid. But at one point, the maid ends up dead. She went skinny dipping in the swimming pool, and somebody killed her. There's this other guy named Carter living on the estate. He's just kind of, I don't know, like a butler type guard. I don't know what exactly he is. But so anyway, Georges really likes Stefanie Powers. Can't remember her character name, but he really likes her and wants her to stick around. But he's got some temper issues here and there too. Plus, obviously, he's a drug addict, which she doesn't know at this point. But eventually, she finds out about it when Georges starts to fall for Stefanie Powers, and they kiss, and they kind of become a little bit of a couple. But then she starts talking about, "I love you," you know, she wants some sort of future with him, and then he screams, "What am I going to do? We're paralyzed. We're not going to have any kids." Blah blah blah, that sort of thing. So she decides she's going to bolt. And then all of a sudden, one night, she goes to George's room, and he's like walking around, and she's like, "What the hell? You were in a wheelchair, now you can walk?" Turns out, no, he wasn't. George's is outside, like crawling. What she's seeing is George's brother, Jacques, twin brother. Apparently, what happened years ago was that Jacques shot George's. That's why he's in a wheelchair. George's was actually sleeping with this woman named Catherine, who was Jacques' wife. So I don't know if the wife knew she was sleeping with the twin brother or not, but anyway, Jacques shot both of them, killed Catherine, then paralyzed his brother. Jacques is like crazy now. He's insane, and he keeps all these dolls that look just like his wife, Catherine, and he axes them on a daily basis because, according to his mom, he's allowed to kill her over and over again by doing that. Stefanie Powers is freaking out at this point, and eventually Jacques is about to kill her, and then the mom finally comes to her senses and shoots her son Jacques with a shotgun, and that's how our movie ends, with Stefanie Powers running off. Anyway, it's a weird film, kind of a strange little atmosphere, but I kind of enjoyed it. Plus, also, it's got Stefanie Powers' only nude scene that she ever done. There's a couple other nude scenes as well. But anyway, it's a decent film. It's called Crescendo. Let me know what you think about it. Leave some comments down below, and we'll talk about it. It's called Crescendo. Watch it. Bye. Oh, by the way, you can get this from Warner Archives for maybe $12, $13 or so. Pretty decent film and a good copy. Watch it. Bye.